So we've touched briefly on this Deformations palette under the Tool menu, but let's go through it a little bit more. The top button here, Unify, will resize the active mesh to fit inside of the default ZBrush cube size, which is a 2x2x2 unit cube. So if I click this right now, you're going to see that it's resized my active subtool to fit inside of that cube. If I go up to the subtool palette and insert a cube 3D and select the goblin head again and turn on transparency, we can see that the longest dimension fits exactly inside of the default cube. So why might we want to keep our meshes unified? Well, to show this, I've got 3 cubes, each made of just under 500 points. The middle one is the default ZBrush cube size of 2x2x2. The one on the left has been scaled up quite a bit, and the one on the right has been scaled down. Now, the first reason you might want to keep your meshes unified has to do with brush size. So if I hold spacebar and I bring my draw size all the way up to full on this default sized cube, I can make rather broad modifications without too much trouble. If I go to the larger cube, you can see that it's much harder for me to do that, even at the largest brush size. For the small cube, that's not going to be a big issue in this case. However, if we had a very high resolution cube and I was trying to get tight detail, I may run into issues where my smallest brush size is not small enough to get the kind of granular detail that I want. Another reason to keep your meshes unified has to do with Dynamesh. If we go down to our geometry palette and open up the Dynamesh sub-palette here, at a resolution of 128 with a blur of 0, if I activate Dynamesh on this large scaled up cube, you're going to see that it's going to take quite a while to run the Dynamesh process even this low. And the resulting mesh is over 3 million polys already. I'll undo that and go to the default sized cube and run the same Dynamesh. And you see it does it almost instantly. And we're only at 98,000, just under 100,000. So quite a few times less than the scaled up cube. At the smallest cube, if we run the same thing, now at 128, we're only getting 7,000 points out of Dynamesh at 128. So the problem comes down to, at a very small scale model, having to crank up your Dynamesh resolution in the later stages of your sculpt to get the kind of tight detail that you want. And at a large scale, the problem is in the early stages of sculpting, being able to have your resolution low enough to make large changes without creating the lumpy quality that happens if the resolution is too high in the early stages.